Giants are mythological or legendary beings typically depicted as humanoid creatures of enormous size and strength. They are often associated with tales of heroism and adventure, and are found in many different cultural traditions around the world. In some mythologies, giants are believed to be the offspring of gods or demigods, while in others they are portrayed as monstrous and evil creatures. Giants have been a popular subject in literature, art, and film, and continue to capture the imaginations of people today. Yet, what if these giants indeed lived on Earth a few thousand years ago? The land of Iraq, known for being the home of ancient Mesopotamia and the birthplace of civilization, holds many secrets. One such secret lies in the ruins of the city of Nevaeh, where Sumerian tablets dating back to 1800 BC reveals an epic story about King Gilgamesh. The story fills Gilgamesh and his companion Enkidu, who is depicted as a hairy, wild man living on the outskirts of human society. What makes the epic of Gilgamesh fascinating is the portrayal of Echidnu as a giant creature, possibly of extraterrestrial origin. The ancient Sumerian texts describe Echidnu as a hairy, man-like monster with immense strength, leading some to believe that he could have been a Bigfoot or Sasquatch. According to texts, Echidnu was created by the gods as a new being designed to be their slave. Some ancient astronaut theorists suggest that the epic of Gilgamesh may actually be describing a hominid creature created by extraterrestrial beings. The Sumerian texts also mention the Anunnaki, ancient sky gods who came to Earth and are thought to be extraterrestrial in nature. The theory goes that the Anunnaki put their genetic marker on Echidnu, creating a new being that eventually evolved into the Bigfoot or Sasquatch creatures we know today. There are theories that ancient accounts of humanoid beasts provide evidence of the existence of otherworldly beings throughout history. Some suggest that the giant in the story of David and Goliath from the Old Testament may be an early representation of Bigfoot. While Goliath is described as huge and hairy, he is not portrayed as living on the edge of civilization or avoiding people. Instead, he is used as a weapon of terror against the Israelites. The Bible also describes other giant creatures in our ancestors' world, suggesting that Bigfoot may be one category that has survived. Whether or not Goliath is a Bigfoot, they are considered to be creatures that are not human, but are present and taller than our ancestors were. Some scholars suggest that Goliath may have been an extraterrestrial or half-alien, half-human creature. Legends and tales of giant, hairy, wild men are found in cultures across the world, from South America and Native American Indians to Europe, Russia, China, Tibet, and Australia. This suggests that these things were prevalent and widespread across the world in times past. Visitors to the Mediterranean islands of Sardinia have been greeted with strange and mysterious stories of a race of giants that once lived there thousands of years ago. Despite hundreds of monolithic stone structures, there was little physical evidence to convince mainstream archaeologists or ancient astronaut theorists that the myths about giants had any basis in reality, until more giant bones were reportedly discovered in 1979 during an archaeological excavation. Allegedly, hundreds of excavations have unearthed the bones of giants, which were then hidden away overnight. It is possible that the physical evidence that could prove the existence of giants has been deliberately hidden away. But by whom and why? The possibility of ancient astronauts visiting this planet and sowing the seeds of inspiration for these structures cannot be proven wrong. In February 2018, Harvard University researchers published a groundbreaking genetic study in the journal Nature. The study revealed that shortly after Stonehenge was built, the ancient inhabitants of Britain who built it suddenly and almost completely vanished from the British Isles, leaving virtually no DNA in the modern British population. The study suggests that the genetic signature of the Neolithic inhabitants of the British Isles vanished shortly after a period in which they built Stonehenge and was largely replaced by an entirely new human culture in a very short amount of time. This is an absolute bombshell, as an entire civilization disappeared without a trace. The study used a revolutionary new technique that samples DNA from ancient human bones and then compares it to the DNA of modern people in the same place. Scientists then determine what percentage of the modern population is descended from the ancient group, providing an example of population replacement, in which the genetic markers that characterize one population are almost entirely replaced in a relatively short amount of time by the genetic signature that characterizes another population from a different part of the world. The strange disappearance of the Stonehenge builders remains a profound historical mystery. Might it point to a deliberate cleansing of the human genetic line, as ancient astronaut theorists and flood myths found worldwide suggest? Perhaps further evidence of this can be found with the recent discovery of a confounding genetic lineage that was proven nearly impossible to trace. In 1998, researchers at the Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, analyzed DNA collected from various Native American populations in an effort to trace their ancestral descent through the Bering Strait. The lineages are categorized into 4 haplogroups: A, B, C, or D, each line representing a continent between 20 to 30,000 years ago. But what they also found is that a small portion of the native population falls completely outside any previously known genetic group. Scientists dub it the X lineage. Among human haplogroups, one stands out: the X lineage, which is found in about 2.5% of some Native American groups, and also in a small population of Northern Europeans and the Middle East. In America, archaeologists began excavating skeletons of giants, and in many cases, they were 7 to 8 feet tall. In the 1800s, Smithsonian archaeologists unearthed dozens of oversized skeletons contained within the burial mounds of the ancient Adedna Indian tribe, the highest concentration of which were found in the Kanawha Valley of West Virginia, an area known to the researchers as the Valley of the Giants. An author and researcher, William Henry, met up with a local Adena Indian researcher, Jason Gerald, to visit an ancient earthwork, the Creole Mound. The Smithsonian Institution excavated this mound in November 1883, sinking a circular shaft from the top down to the bottom, where they found an elaborate tomb containing 11 burials. 10 of these burials were arranged in a semicircular fashion around a central personage, who measured 6'8" 3/4", with the skull having been pulverized by the excavation. Based on the measurements taken in the tomb, this individual was likely around 7 feet tall, making them a gigantic humanoid. The Smithsonian discovered giants in many of the mounds in Charleston, West Virginia, where there were originally 50 burial mounds in the valleys. Documentation of the excavation by the Smithsonian shows that the government worker discovered giants, including one that measured 7 foot 6 inches in length while excavating a mound. However, the policy of denial of the discovery of gigantic human skeletons wasn't enacted until about 1920. And before that, the Smithsonian acknowledged these giants in their own reports. The suppression of proof probably has to do with the fact that it doesn't fit our model of human evolution. The existence of these giants is a mystery that archaeologists have yet to solve, and part of the answer may be extraterrestrial DNA. The idea of giants has fascinated people for centuries, appearing in myths and legends around the world. But could there be any truth to these stories? The discovery of giant skeletons in Charleston, West Virginia by the Smithsonian Institute in 1883 suggests that there may be more to the tales than mere fiction. While some believe that the existence of giants is evidence of extraterrestrial connection, or the remnants of giants from the Bible, others argue that the skeletons may have been from individuals with a genetic disorder known as acromegaly. Despite the controversy surrounding these findings, the discovery of giant skeletons raises many questions about the history of humanity and its origins. The suppression of information regarding these discoveries by the Smithsonian also begs the question of what other secrets may have been hidden from the public. Perhaps, with the advancement of technology and ongoing work of archaeologists and researchers, we may one day uncover more evidence of giants and their place in history. Until then, the mystery of these colossal beings continues to captivate the imagination of people around the world, leaving us to wonder what other secrets lie buried beneath the earth. This ends today's video. If you learned something new, don't forget to like and subscribe for more history in minutes.